Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. Clico confusion yet again. Now, as we're entering 2012, stuck in some time warp there, many are hoping that this issue will finally be resolved. The Clico policyholders are saying that they need full disclosure by the government on the NEL2 option. Over the weekend, the Clico Policyholders Group was pleased to note a media release from the Ministry of Finance advising that the processing of payments for clients of Clico and British American who hold EFPA policies where the principal balance is $75,000 and over will commence on Thursday of this week. But there seems to be some unresolved issues as it relates to this matter. Peter Permell, Chairman of the Clico Policyholders Group. Peter, what are the issues?
Well, first of all, a pleasant good morning to you, Hema.
Good morning.
And all of Trinidad and Tobago, and in particular, the Clico policyholders, those infatigable and resilient Clico policyholders. And I must say, you do look very special this morning. You probably have a day. So to get back to business.
Thank you.
The issue is a very simple one, and maybe it may be useful for me to revisit the revised offer of the government in explaining what the issue is. Well, as the country would be aware, the Minister of Finance came to the Parliament on behalf of the government and announced a revised government bailout plan for the policyholders. And that bailout plan was comprised of two major components. First of all, the policyholders were going to get $75,000 upfront payment of $75,000 cash payment, and then the balance of the principal owed in bonds over the next 20 years. So you're going to have bonds from year 1 to 20. The minister, now, by the way, that was the minister's initial plan that he came with in September of 2010. The revised portion of that plan is where he has introduced a new entity called NEL2. Now, the NEL2 aspect of it is where you can convert, according to the minister and his government, your bonds from year 10 to 20, sorry, your bonds from year 11 to 20 into this NEL2 entity, into units or shares in this NEL2 entity, dollar for dollar, so that the NEL2 component is a significant component of the revised plan. However, in the documents that the Ministry of Finance released over the weekend, they spent 2 lines explaining what NEL2 is all about. And we are saying as policyholders, if you are going to ask us to sign a document signing where our rights and ownership in our policies, then you have to explain to the policyholders and to the country what NEL2 is all about. In other words, you have to issue a prospectus which would detail quite a lot of information pertaining to this whole NEL2 entity.
Peter, yesterday, another group of policyholders and shareholders, they filed some action. This is being led by former Attorney General and Attorney at Law Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj. Let's share with our viewers that clip and then we'll continue our discussion.
Full-page newspaper advertisements lay out the timetable for payout of between $75,000 and $75,999 to Clico EFPA policyholders. But the United Clico Policyholders Group, which has been advised by Senior Counsel Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, is not happy, and they say by Wednesday they'll be filing judicial review proceedings against the Cabinet to seek redress for policyholders. Mr. Maharaj explains that if policyholders accept the offer, they would waive their rights to recover the full sums of monies owed to them. He says the government had indicated that the policyholders were told that for the first 10 years they would get a yield of approximately 80 cents for every dollar if they choose to cash in their investment within 6 months. They were promised a return of 100 cents on the dollar if they opt to swap years 11 through 20 for units in NEL2. But he says there is now no guarantee to the policyholders that they will get the 100% under NEL2 because that depends on the value of the underlying security, Republic Bank. He says the group wrote to the government seeking clarification but is still waiting. It's also asked for information on the assets of Clico, but has also been unable to get that. It's for this reason, he says, the group has decided to seek judicial review against the Cabinet. Maharaj insists that the government must accept legal responsibility for the plight of the policyholders. The judicial review would contend that the EFPA policyholders are being treated unequally by the government contrary to the constitution of the country. Meantime, Peter Permell of the Clico Policyholders Group is now calling on the government to give full disclosure on the proposed NEL2 ahead of Thursday, December 1st. He says this is to ensure that policyholders who are being asked to accept government's revised offer can do so fairly without having to, in his words, buy cat in bag. He says while they welcome the payout, they need information on NEL2, including the identity of the trustee or fund manager, the risks and benefits associated with the fund's dividend income and capital gains distribution policies, and its eligibility as an investment for registered pension plans and statutory funds.
A story there by our very own Samson Nanta. And Peter, what is happening on Thursday? Does it mean that the group that you represent will be accepting the offers by government? And also, as we enter 2012, is there another set of confusion as it relates to this Clico matter?
Well, first of all, I cannot understand how the government can expect policyholders to accept an offer when they don't know the details, the terms of the offer. Because what they're effectively doing is saying, we want you to sign away your rights, but we are not telling you what you are signing away your rights for. And that is grossly unfair, and it is possibly bordering on illegal. Because under the Securities and Industries Act, if someone is issuing a security, in this case would be a NEL2, the NEL2 security, you are supposed to issue a prospectus which informs the unit holder, the shareholder, and the general public what you are offering them. That is a requirement. And therefore, to date, the government has not said what NEL2 is going to be. So you have issues. Is NEL2 going to be a trust fund? Is NEL2 going to be an investment holding company? Who is going to be the fund manager of NEL2? What is going to be the dividend and capital gains policy of NEL2? How is NEL2 going to be, you're going to be able to redeem or purchase units? There's a lot of information that the policyholders are not aware of. And that is critical to assisting the policyholders in making a decision, an informed decision, as to whether they're going to accept the offer.
But you have no other option but to accept the offer.
Well, no. We have other options. As you can see, Mr. Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj in your clip, he has taken a decision with his group to file for judicial review
Will your
of the
group be
government's
joining that?
decision. No, we have not reached to that stage yet to decide whether we're going to go that route or not. I'm saying that the government has to be reasonable. The government has to be just. The government has to be fair to the policyholders. It cannot be that the government is going to ride roughshod and bully policyholders into accepting an offer because they are trying to make out a case that we have no other choice. You must adhere to principle and proper practice as a government. They have to set an example. And I'm saying they still have an opportunity to issue a prospectus. Thursday is a couple of days away. And clearly, if the government came up with such a proposal, and they did that, I think the announcement was made somewhere in August when they came with the bills to the Parliament, they would have had sufficient time to prepare a document to know what the blueprint for this NEL2 is. So I cannot understand for the life of me why they are not making it available to the policy holders. And it begs the question, is there something sinister about the fact that they are not making the information available? I'm not saying that there is. I'm saying that a reasonable person may conclude that there is something sinister about not making the information available. And I'm saying, I said when the Minister of Finance made the announcement, I'm going to take him at his word. I am going to operate in the utmost good faith that what is being offered is what he said was going to be offered. But what he said at that time was very sketchy. It was just a conceptual framework that he was outlining. What he needs to do now, he and the government, is to put out a document called a prospectus that would outline clearly what the terms and conditions of this NEL2 is going to be all about. What are the details so that policyholders can read it, they can seek advice from their advisors, and they will be able to tell them, yes, this is a good thing, no, it's not a good thing, as the case may be. And then they should be required to sign whatever documents. So I'm saying the government owes the country a duty and owes the policyholders a duty to act fairly in this particular matter.
If on Thursday you do not receive the documents that you require, what's going to happen?
Well, what I would say at this stage on your program, Hema, is that I would advise the policyholders, all policyholders, to hold their hand. Do not rush on Thursday to sign any document until you have gotten further advice from, if you're a member of our group, or if you are desirous of becoming a member of our group, or if you are a silent member of our group, do not rush on Thursday to sign any document signing over your rights until we have given the government an opportunity to produce a prospectus. And I'm saying at this point in time, this is not to threaten or to push the government in any corner. I'm saying let the principles of decency and fair play operate in this situation. You cannot, no one in their right mind is going to sign a document without first knowing what are the terms and conditions of this offer that I'm signing. That is 101. And I'm saying the government, and if they're looking this morning, I'm appealing to the Honorable Prime Minister and I'm appealing to the Honorable Minister of Finance to do the right thing. Give the policyholders the information so that they can make an informed decision when they have to go in and process their payments.
We do have to take a very short break. When we come back from this break, we're going to open our phone lines. Peter Permell, the chairman of the Clico Policyholders Group. On Thursday, the government is expected to take the action forward. But they're saying that they're not going to accept that option until full disclosure is made. Stay with us.
Persistence gives you more reasons to really ring in the season.
Always great with low interest rates.
More the merrier.
2 months to pay, so sign up today.
More the merrier. Make it on your own with a car insurance loan.
Let the money stack. Surprises back to back. More the merrier.
Win groceries and gifts, TVs and DVD players from Standard, and a whole Kenmore kitchen. More wishes are yours with First Citizens.
For citizens, we put you first.
FIFA.
Azor Antiques. Looking for something original and unique, but something classic? Visit us at Azor Antiques. We specialize in bespoke and antique furniture, along with various ceramics from Europe. Azor Antiques. More than just a purchase, it's an investment.
Central Trinidad, the wait is over. Your premium fine dining restaurant and entertainment lounge has finally arrived. Touch and taste. Come wine and dine with the finest dishes prepared to international standards with just the right touch of local supremacy. Touch and Taste is also equipped with complete conference and boardroom facility, weddings, catering, delivery, and more. Touch and Taste. Visit them today at number 8 West Boundary Street, California, Point Risa, Trinidad, or call 636-1912. Prepare to be satisfied.
Double A Electronics pre-reconstruction sale. Up to 30% off on items store-wide. 38 Divertile Street, Woodbrook, Port of Spain. Telephone 622-1022 or 622-8875. Caribbean Granite announces its grand clearance sale. Cane furniture $2,500 and up. Antique Indian furniture $6,000 and up. 24 by 24 vertified porcelain tiles from $30 and medallions from $400 and up. Visit us at 188 Southern Main Road, Marabella, or call us at 658-5676 for details. It's Christmas time. Such a happy, fun-filled time this Christmas season at Party Central. When you're planning your celebrations this year, come on down to Party Central, where we carry all Christmas wreaths, Christmas lights, Christmas utensils, Santa Claus suits for both male and female. We've also got you covered for your New Year's celebrations too. So call us today at 222-7781 or 683-6525.
Things, I just get a sense.
The fancy thing. Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. Our phone lines are open at this time, 624-8721, 627-8658. We're going to open our lines for a bit to speak on the issue of the NEL2 option. The shareholders are saying that full disclosure is required and that Peter Permell is advising everyone to hold their hands, basically, and wait until they have more information at hand. Peter, I have to ask you about the issue as it relates to the accounts of Clico. What's going on with that?
Your guess is as good as mine. That is a very thorny issue. That is an issue that we are going to be pursuing very vigorously in the not-too-distant future, because we have been calling for months now, maybe almost a year now, to see the audited financial statements of Clico and CL Financial, I may add, for the period 2008, 2009, 2010. And to date, the Minister of Finance is yet to produce those audited accounts. And I cannot for the life of me understand why is that the case. Because they had sufficient time to...
Isn't there an auditor's report? Was there not an audit that was ordered into the books when all of this occurred?
Well, there were a number of audits based on my information that were done into Clico. There was a forensic audit done by Bob Lindquist. There was an investigation done by Ernst & Young. I think Ernst & Young is right now working with the government on the Clico issue. I mean, there's absolutely no good reason why those accounts have not yet been produced. As a matter of fact, I think, if my memory serves me correctly, the Minister of Finance, when those two bills were being debated, the Central Bank Amendment Bill and the Purchase of Special Rights Bill, he said that the audited accounts for 2008 was going to be produced by the end of October, and the audited accounts for 2009 were going to be produced by the end of November of this year, 2011. Well, we know that October has passed, and we are yet to see any audited accounts for 2008. And November, the end of November, is quickly approaching. And I will bet that we are not going to see any audited accounts by the 30th of November.
Are you going to enter 2012 with yet another unresolved issue as it relates to this?
Well, clearly that seems to be the case. But certainly we would want to think that the right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the taxpayers, should demand that the government produce those audited financial statements. The judicial review matter that is being filed, I suspect as part of that process, they are going to request via courts those audited financial statements. So that at some point in time, audited financial statements will have to be produced.
We have a quick caller for you from Maloney. Maloney, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, what I wanted to find out, they put out the ad in the papers concerning the money. This first set of payments that they put a dates on, that is for what, the $75,000 or $75,000 plus the 80% of the first half, because they say you'll be getting back 80% of the first half, and you're supposed to get these things together and then wait on the NEL2 for at least 6 to 1 year after. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And let's take a quick call from Woodbrook. Woodbrook, good morning.
I think Mr. Permell should remember that they have raped the country at 16%, and they can't expect the taxpayers now to pay for something that they have enjoyed, and therefore they should take what they get and run, or do without the money.
Okay, let's take a quick call from Charlieville. Charlieville, good morning.
Hi, Charlieville, good morning. All I'm interested in, what about if somebody has passed, they have died? Okay. I have an uncle and a father who have died.
Okay.
What are they going to do? Are they just going to give my father bonds?
Thank you, Peter.
Again, the last question, those details should be included in a prospectus. So I can't speak to that issue because we have no further information other than this NEL2 entity is going to be set up. With respect to the lady, I think, who spoke about raping the country, the policyholders didn't rape any country. That 16% that she's talking about, I certainly didn't get any 16% of my money. Maybe there were 1 or 2 people who got that kind of return. But the Clico policyholders, people must remember, we are the victims in this situation. We are the people whose affairs were not looked after by the regulators. And that is a whole other discussion, but I don't want us to get too much involved in that because we are represented at the Commission of Inquiry, and all those matters will come out in the fullness of time. But with respect to the immediate issue of the offer that has been made by the government, we are just simply saying we are prepared to accept a 90% payment on our money, but it must be done properly. We are asking that there must be fairness and transparency in the process. It cannot be that the government wants us to buy cat in bag. We're going to sign something not knowing exactly what we are going to get in return.
Let's take a quick call. I believe it's from Woodbrook. Woodbrook, good morning.
Hello, this is San Fernando.
Oh, San Fernando. I'm sorry. Got a little confused with my geography there. Good morning.
Good morning. I believe that Clico policyholders should not get any money at all, because in the 1980, trade confirmers did not give out monies when they were in trouble and other finance houses. I believe no money should be paid out to Clico policyholders, and the government is not entitled to pay Clico policyholders. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. We'll take one final caller for this segment before we wrap this interview up. Peter, you still are facing that public perception out there that the government and taxpayers are being forced to pay on this matter.
No, it's not a question of anybody being forced to pay. And that's why you have a commission of inquiry. All these matters are going to be fleshed out in the fullness of time, and people will realize who are the real culprits in all of this. I mean, we're seeing some of them coming out of the woodwork as we speak, but there are a lot more to come out, both in terms of the people who are running Clico and the people who are supposed to be regulating Clico. But at this...
Oh, we're just going to take our final call. Sure. Diego Martin, can you make your contributions as quickly as we can?
I'm happy that I have been able to broach your communique line. And because I'm really aghast. Aghast is a soft word at some of the espouses that are negative in content and politically motivated in terms of the communication. How could you, after people have worked all their years and have made a contribution towards society, by way of making an investment for their future and their future's future, by way of a policy, to tell that person where the state has benefited from taxes coming out of that investment, that there isn't an entitlement? Where is the democratic process in this country? Mr. Permell, stay firm.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so much, caller. Peter, we just have about a minute again until we wrap this interview. Your closing comments on Thursday. What is happening? What are you going to do next? Your closing comments, Trinidad Tobago.
As I said, Thursday is not the be-all and end-all of this issue, in the sense that the government has issued a payment schedule that runs from the 1st of December until somewhere in February. And therefore, there is sufficient time for the government to issue a proper prospectus outlining exactly what this NEL2 option is going to be all about, so that people can make an informed decision. That's why I'm telling people, at this point in time, do not rush on Thursday to sign any document, because I'm sure the government is listening. I mean, your program is probably one of the most popular programs in the morning. I'm sure they're listening to us right now. And I'm sure they're going to do the right and honorable thing, because it makes absolutely no sense to ask people to sign something. The government has to set an example when they don't know what they're signing for. And all we are asking, respectfully, is that they produce what is required in any serious country. They would have had to produce a prospectus, and people would have been able to read it and say, yes, I'm in favor of this, I'm not in favor, I'm going to sign accepting, or I'm not going to sign accepting. That is all we are asking.
That's all they're asking for, full disclosure before they make a decision. I'm Hema Ramki-Soon, and on behalf of everyone attached to the Early Morning Show, thanks again for inviting us into your homes, to all of our guests, to all of our viewers. Thank you so much for making it possible to have a safe and blessed day, and I will see you tomorrow, God's willing. Tomorrow we'll be speaking to the Minister of Trade and Industry, Stephen Cadiz. We'll also be speaking with prominent attorney at law and former chairman of the PSC, Kenneth Lala. His thoughts on independent institutions in the country. Is it an oxymoron now? Stay with us.